So should I just dive in?
Go for it. Yep.
Number 9. Good. Thank you, Lauren. Hi, everybody. I'm glad to be here. My name's Dave Jenks. I've been here. This is the 5th Zoominar that we've done for your wonderful KW Elite office. I want to thank Eric and Lauren for bringing me here to you. This is a world-class opportunity for you. What I'm going to cover today could make a difference of several $100,000 in your life. Because this is a big issue in real estate and in Keller Williams, and that is this idea of achieving financial independence. It's a big deal. It's guided me to be able to do that, both from an asset point of view and also from a cash flow point of view, because both of those are two different ways of looking at the way you want to build your wealth. If you want to build your wealth so you have assets that give you wealth, and you can then turn those into cash at some point. Or if you have cash flow opportunities, which is what it is to own businesses that are sending you cash flow even though you're not working in them. And those are big deal opportunities, and they are all over the place in Keller Williams and in real estate, of course. So I want to do that. And I also want to just say to those of you who are here, that's very important, because you're making a commitment to yourself. I mean, you are learning based, and being learning based is a big deal. Gary and I, as we were building Keller Williams University, we said the thing that differentiates our highest achieving people that we were working with from others is they're learning based. They go to more training. They particularly go to training like this, where they're really with a world-class real estate expert who understands real estate business from the agent's point of view, which is what my whole game has been for over 30 years. Then you say, then I want the opportunity not only to gain that wisdom, but to gain that energy, to gain that feeling, because that's what comes through when we train. So let me dive right into sharing my screen and just say to you, here's what we're going to do today. We are going to try and impact your financial future. And I will tell you what I'm going to bring to you in this next hour or so is substantial wisdom about how to achieve financial independence and earn passive income as an extension of your real estate career. It's a big deal. Now, I want to be clear that a lot of this comes from my work with studying people who have gotten financial independence, particularly in Keller Williams, the people who are really solidly well off financially. And we wrote about those in 2 books. MREA, of course, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, people who had turned their real estate jobs into a business and taken it to the 7th level, where they were the owner and receiving income, profit from those businesses. And that's one of the things that was really fundamental to Gary and I as we were building Keller Williams University and Keller Williams back when I joined 25 years ago, and we were only 2,000 agents. That's all, 2,000 agents in the whole company, mostly in Texas and Oklahoma, and a few spread out elsewhere. And we really had a vision to build the real estate company that would take over and dominate the real estate industry. And then that's exactly what's happened. We went from 2,000 agents to 182,000, the most respected and powerful real estate company in the world. And that has happened because of our commitment to our agents, our commitment to their businesses, and our commitment to their wealth building. And the commitment is to really start thinking about your job, your real estate profession as a business. And when you think about it as a business, now you can start to take it to a higher level, which is what happened for agents. We have more agents in the top 1,000 in the country than any other real estate company by far. And that has happened not by accident. That's been happened by intention. So the one thing I want to say to you as a lesson from Keller Williams and Gary Keller and Mo Anderson and Dave Jenks is your future is not dependent on where you've been or where you are, but where you want to go. So it's all future oriented. You are not stuck because you haven't done it before or you aren't doing it now. It's being able to see as possible that which is not now true. And that's the same thing in financial independence. It's being able to see what you want. And of course, this is the fifth in a series of wonderful seminars that Eric and Lauren and the team have brought to you by me. And in the first one, we looked at the magic of real estate. Magic comes in threes, how to build the foundation of your career. By the way, all of these are recorded. So you can go to Lauren and say, Lauren, I'd like to see that recording back on the Magic Comes in Threes that we did back in April. Because in there, I talk about the fundamental three things, the way to use your time, and then also the three ways to build a mental resilience and stay calm in the chaos. And then after that, we did Why List With Me and how to build a powerful real estate listing presentation. And we're going to repeat that next week on June 15th. So be here with us. Why List With Me? Powerful. And then we talked about the overlooked secrets of MREA and how to take your business to the highest level, make it more of a business, and increase your dollars per hour. So that one is really worth reviewing and listening to. And then, of course, the last one we did was Getting What You Want, which is there are some really fundamental secret ways that exist that people who get what they want get what they want. And that's what I would want for you. So that, and now this is the kind of culmination of all of that training that we've done, because what I've tried to do in these times is synthesize everything I've learned over my 30 years in the real estate business and the thousands and thousands of agents I've worked with and the ones I've studied closely and gotten their best of practice. And now the ones that I've worked with who have really gained financial independence. And I'm going to pass their wisdom on to you. So this in a way isn't really wisdom from Dave Jenks, as it is wisdom from the thousands of agents that I've worked with. So let's dive in. Here's the thing to remember, that we're on a journey. Life is an experiment. Life is a journey. Life is a wonderful opportunity, a God-given chance to kind of do something in a conscious way. I'm doing a lot of research now in the whole evolution of the universe and life and consciousness. And there's a whole bunch of learning and research that's going on now to understand the miracle of who we are and what we can do. But life's a journey. And it's all about getting what we want: health, wealth, and happiness. Those are kind of the big three. We want to maintain our health for as long as we can and have a vital life. We want to have the financial wherewithal, as Gary says, to fund our mission in life, whatever that mission is. It's not usually the wealth, it's what you can do with the wealth. And then, of course, ultimately, authentic happiness. What really is happiness? Not short-term feel good, but authentic long-term happiness. Now, that's the game. That's the wonderful game in the journey of life. And here's the thing to remember, that achieving financial independence, which underwrites it and funds all of that opportunity for you as big as you want to take it, does not happen by accident. It only happens by intention. Only bad things happen by accident. All the good things happen by intention. So let's get intentional. And all the big issues in life, health, wealth, happiness, well-being, relationships, all of that begin with the right mindset. And then converting that into the right actions, like we talked about in Magic Comes in Threes. You know, the way that a creativity works is you think it, then you write it, then you do it. Thought, word, and deed. First we think it, then we convert it into words, either spoken or often better written, and then we take action and we make all that happen. That's how God has built us. That's the creative force that we have in us. Thought, word, and deed. So it all begins with how we think. That's why all the books that Gary and Jay and I have written begin with how you think. We want to do that today too. Now, here's a wisdom I got early on from one of my mentors, Floyd Wickman, and I'm doing a special session for him and his organization next week. But he said, this is what Floyd said to me. I want you to listen to this carefully. It's what you do when you don't have to that will determine what you become when you can no longer help it. It's kind of Zen-like. It's what you do when you don't have to that will determine what you become when you can no longer help it. So it's what you do for your health when you don't have to, because you're young and vital and everything's working fine, that will determine what your health is like when, let's say, you have a heart attack or diabetes or high blood pressure, and maybe you can or can't do anything about it, or your immune system is weakened and it can't deal with the viruses and bacteria that are out there. So it's really important to remember that what you do now, when you don't have to, and this is true of planning and training and a number of other things we'll look at, will determine what you become when you can no longer help it. And this is really true about your financial independence, no question. Now, another great mentor, sadly deceased, Stephen Covey, who wrote the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he calls this a quadrant 2 focus. He wrote another book after the 7 Habits called First Things First, about managing your time. And he said, the thing to remember in life is we can manage our talent, our time, and our money, right? We can build we call it ATM, ability, time, and money. The 3 things you can manage in your life and in your real estate life and in your financial independence life are your ability, that is your knowledge and your capability, and your how you use your time, because that's the one asset you have that is the same as everybody else's. And then your money and how you manage your money. And what Stephen Covey calls this, and it's an important thing, and I want to get this mindset for us. He says it's about having in your life a quadrant 2 focus. Well, what does he mean? He says your time in your life is divided in 4 quadrants, and things that you have to do are either urgent or they're not urgent, or they're important or they're not important. And that creates these quadrants. So a quadrant 1 activity is urgent and important. You got to get it done. It's urgent. There will be negative consequences if you don't get it done, and it's important. And then quadrant 2 is things that are very important, but they're not urgent. They don't have to be done right now. There's nothing demanding that it be done, but they're important. And then quadrant 3 are things that are urgent, but they're not important. They just chew up time. And yet they have an urgency to them. Maybe somebody else is making them urgent. And then there's the quadrant 4, which is neither urgent nor important. And that's kind of like, well, not getting much done. We'll talk about that. So it's important as we look at our life and how we deploy our time that we look at it in this is what Stephen Covey says, in these quadrants. And so this is here are the names I give them, right? So I say that the first quadrant is really what I call putting out fires. You got to do it. It's like, urgency, putting out fires, got to get this done. It better get done. If it doesn't, the forest will burn down, putting out fires. Then the one below that, quadrant 3, is spinning wheels. It's where you go busy, busy, busy. It's people who say, how you doing? Oh, I'm busy. Don't want to be busy people. We want to be productive people. And yet people get all caught up in this busy. They think somehow that busy is equated with productivity. So they love being busy, busy. My to-do list, checking off on my to-do list, answering my emails, getting back to people, doing what they say. It's really, but what we know, we finish the end of a day and we say, wow, I was really busy, but man, I didn't make much progress. I didn't do much in lead generation. I didn't get business done. I didn't generate income, but I was busy, busy, spinning wheels. And then quadrant 4 is kind of that killing time. This is where we just either we crash, we just get caught up in meaningless activities that occupy our time, or we cave into addictions, and it's just called killing time. But the real quadrant, what Stephen Covey calls quadrant 2, is putting rubber on the road, making progress, getting things done, right? That's the getting things done correctly at the right time. Now let's take a look at how that really looks in our life. So what's urgent? Well, deadlines, emergencies, and recovery. I mean, recovery from mistakes. Oh, I should have gotten that done. Oh, I should have called them. We've got a problem here. So it's all of that urgency in life. And a lot of people, their whole life is full of that drama. Deadlines. Oh my God, this is coming up. Got to get done. Everything's emergency.
I'm sorry.
Time for recovery. Okay, we need.
Time to 11:30. All
We
right.
need to mute. I'm
Okay.
sorry,
Okay.
Susan needs to be muted.
All right. Call me next time you're not working. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Bye-bye.
No, somebody who's managing the mutes for me. Okay, thank you, because that's really important. And Lauren said that Luella would be doing that for us. So Luella, just make sure we mute people if they accidentally unmute. Okay, thanks. Thanks for everybody. This is for everyone who's here. So urgent. That's an urgent thing to do, by the way. It's a quadrant 1 right now. By the way, then we go down into the quadrant 3, which is the urgent but not important, and that's answering email, going on social media, a lot of paperwork, and it's also when we're doing what other people are asking us to do. Somebody once said, if you don't have your own plan, you'll be part of somebody else's. Where there's a lot of us that are yes people that say yes to things that aren't important to us, but they are urgent or important for others. And we have to decide which of that we're going to say yes to and which we're not. So spinning wheels, it's so easy to fill your life up with all of that stuff, particularly in this modern age with all the internet and social media activity. And then of course, quadrant 4 is our escapes. It's our addictions. A lot of people get addicted to, certain things on the internet or playing games. They get addicted physically to things, and that they go drink and drop out. And procrastination, just the habit of putting things off. Oh, I'll get to that. Oh, I don't feel like doing that right now. And quadrant 4. And by the way, a lot of people get in what I call the 1-4 dance, where everything's urgent, 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 and then they crash. They have a day of urgent, 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 urgent. Oh, burning it, and then boom, they crash and they drop out. And so we'll take a look and really understand that. Now, here's the thing, though. The quadrant 2 is where the world gets done. It's where you do planning and goal setting. It's where you set up your schedule. It's where you do your time blocking. It's where you do what you're doing now with me. You come to training so that you can really get better. The work we do, we covered this in Magic Comes in Threes, that the work we do to get better at our knowledge, skills, and attitudes in real estate really makes all the difference in our career. And yet it doesn't have a sense of urgency, but it does have a sense of getting things done. And remember this, that a lot of the things that end up in quadrant 1 could have been prevented from being a quadrant 1 by doing them in quadrant 2. If you have a schedule, if you have a commitment list, a to-do list, if you have things that you've planned, if you have time blocked, time to do the right things, then they don't turn into emergencies. You get them done ahead of time. So understand that good planning and good action takes place in quadrant 2. Systems. We talked about this in MREA. Systems are a quadrant 2 activity. When I install a system in my business to make the right things happen automatically, consistently, and efficiently, then I prevent things from moving from quadrant 2 into quadrant 1, where they become urgent and an emergency. So, and the same thing with, by the way, the same thing with quadrant 4. Vacations are not a quadrant 4. Vacations are a quadrant 2. When we take time out to rest and renew, and we do it in a planful, predetermined way, that's a quadrant 2. Meditating, doing yoga, doing exercise, all of those things, they're not meaningless. They are quadrant 2 activities. They're not quadrant 4. So be careful that time away, time off, time for renewal is not a quadrant 4. That's when we do it because we don't even want to be where we are. We crash, and now we're escaping, and now we're binging on Netflix, just because we just want to fill our mind and time. That's quadrant 4. But planfully going to a movie or watching something that you want to watch is a quadrant 2. So why is all this here important? Because investing and managing our money is a quadrant 2 activity. Taking a good look at our income and our sources of money and deciding what we're going to do with that to make that money grow. We're going to talk about that, to gain the place of financial independence and a flow of passive income is definitely quadrant 2. So it underpins. That's why I wanted to focus on this. That underpins us today. All right. Now, here's the thing that we really teach in Keller Williams: to be a student of the wealth building game, and to understand that it's about building your knowledge, your skills, and your attitude. It's building your knowledge of how to make more money, of how to get money to work for you, building the skills of doing that in your business, the disciplines and habits, and having the right attitude about it, right? All of that is important. And what I would say to you is, and we're gonna revisit this in more detail, but let MREI be your guide, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor. We wrote that to help agents build their financial wealth. We wrote that book, and not just in real estate. The first 156 pages of that book are about financial management and wealth building. They're maybe the best 156 pages ever written on how money works and how to build wealth. In fact, I gave my children, my grandchildren, a scholarship. I paid them $500 to read those first 156 pages. I said, if you will read that and do a book report and then a face-to-face accountability meeting with grandpa, then I'll pay you $500. And they all did. And a couple of them came back and they had scanned it. They had done it thin, and they couldn't answer my question. So I sent them back to the book before they could earn their money. But what I'm saying to you is, and by the way, that was the best investment in their education that anyone could ever make, because our educational system is terrible at teaching people about money and personal financial independence. Our educational system just doesn't do it. In fact, our educational system tends to favor things like socialism and the government doing things and handouts, and not about taking responsibility for yourself and your own finances, and then how to do it, because there's certain rules that work for that. We're gonna dive back into this just a little bit later in detail. And I'm going to give you a gift if you're interested in it. Now, the number one thing to do is track your net worth. Write this down. What gets measured gets done. What you track improves. There's something about the analytic side of our mind that when we measure things, it makes good things happen. It gives us a direction. So what gets measured gets done. If I'm measuring a number of people in my database, I'll get more. If I'm measuring my lead generation activity and calls and mailers, then I will do those. And if I am tracking them, I'll do more of them. And the neat thing is about net worth is that it's a great way to track your financial independence. And in the book, MREI, we have a whole easy system there. And on Keller Inc., write this down, Keller Inc., I-N-K, Keller, I-N-K, kellerinc.com, the publishing arm of Gary Keller and the company. And in there, under MREI, there are resources, free downloads, and we'll talk more about those later, but one of them is a download on how to calculate your net worth. It's a very easy thing to do. And it's a simple thing. And let me give you a great example of this, because it doesn't even matter if it's negative. In fact, it's just as good. When Mo Anderson became president of Keller Williams and came there, she and her husband, Richard, had just lost only $1 million in the decline of real estate and oil and the savings and loan fiasco in Oklahoma. So all this money, well over $1 million that they had invested, was now evaporated, and they owed people almost $1 million. And Gary Keller said to Mo, you need to track your net worth. And she said, well, Gary, it's negative. And he said, doesn't matter. You need to track it, because if you track it, it will improve. So she started keeping track on a monthly basis of her net worth. And net worth means what you own minus what you owe. So what is that number? And for her, it started out at around minus $900,000. Her net worth was a negative. But over time, it got better. And I remember she said, Dave, hey, I just cracked 500,000. Richard and I only owe 500,000. And then it went down to 100,000. And we had a big celebration when it went to zero. When Mo Anderson's net worth went to zero, we had a big celebration. Isn't that fun? And of course, now she's a multimillionaire. because she was building her net worth, but she was tracking it. So track it. It's what we taught in the last session we did on MREA. And that is track your dollars per hour. And when you track it, it will improve. So what gets measured gets done. What you track improves. Great technique in life. The same thing is true with have a budget and a plan. Remember, nothing good happens by accident. So budget your money. Just know, here's how much is coming in. Here's how I'm going to spend it. Do it intentionally. Don't do it accidentally. And don't use credit unless it's beneficial and easy. But you still need to be able to keep track of it. So have a budget and a plan for how you're using your money. And again, that's another one of those, if you watch it and track it, it will improve. So the way you use your money will improve. And then here's the key. This is the big one. Live on 70% of your earned income. In other words, for us in real estate, you take all of your commissions earned minus expenses and cost of sale, and we call that your net income. This is before taxes or investing or saving. It's your net income. It's your take-home pay. It would be kind of like if you had a real job, it would be your salary, your take-home salary before taxes and all that other stuff. So take that, your net income, live on 70% of that, and then first save and then invest the other 30. And here's the magic of this 70-30 formula. And Gary Keller says it clearly. He said, if you can live on 70% of your earned income and then invest the other 30%, there will be a day when your passive income will far surpass anything that you ever earned. Your passive income will far and away surpass any of your earned income. So that's the magic of taking money and getting money to work for you. Understand that there's a difference between active and passive investing. Now in the book, MREI, we cover this in detail. Passive investing is like putting your money in a savings account or buying mutual funds or stock options of any kind. You are not controlling it. You know, you might call it investing, put it in stocks and bonds. That is passive investing because you're letting them use your money and then they're paying you some return on that. Active investing is where you are managing the money. So real estate investing, building a business, investing in a business you have control over, that's active investing. Lending money to other people. You can be a hard money lender. A lot of people in real estate who have built their wealth now start to lend money for other people to invest in real estate. They become a hard money lender and the return on that investment is high and it can lead to other opportunities in that real estate investing realm. So, but that's active. That's active when you're controlling the lending of money. But if you're just letting a bank do it, then that's passive. So understand that there's more money made and wealth is built with active investing, not passive investing. And then the fundamental wisdom of all of this is let your money work for you. You work for money, and then you let that money work for you when you're putting it somewhere where it grows or brings a return on itself, cash flow, we call that, or a growth in the asset, then you're letting money work for you. Now, I say this because I really want to simplify all this. You can get into the complexities, and we do in the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, on how to invest in real estate. And at some point in active investing, you will get into the complexity. But the fundamental approach to building your personal net worth and your financial independence and a cash flow over time is right here on this page and what we've talked about. It's doing what you don't have to do so that you will be what you want to be when you can no longer help it. Okay. So let money work for you. That's the key. Now, here's the neat thing for all of us. We are in the most financially smart real estate company ever built. The most business savvy economic model in the whole real estate industry is Keller Williams. And a lot of people don't appreciate that. I mean, Gary Keller has created more millionaires than anyone in the history of real estate. He really has. He's helped create more millionaires in his agents, in his staff, in his market center owners than anyone else in the history of real estate, because he thinks intelligently about money, and the whole company is built that way. So this is a great company to be with if you want to build your financial wealth, because it really gets it. Now, let me show you how that works, why that's true. This is important to understand, because in Keller Williams, the money goes to all the right people. This is what I saw when I was a divisional president of 7 states for Century 21 out of Dallas, Texas. And I saw this little company growing down in Austin that had just reinvented itself. I said, that's the future of real estate. If I were building a company, that's what I would do. A company dedicated to agents, a company that manages its money wisely, and a company that returns that money to its agents through profit sharing, and then all the other commitments of that. I said, that's the way I would run a real estate company. Well, 4 years later, I got a call from Mo Anderson, and she said, Dave, we'd like to have you join Gary and I and build this company, because we think you know more about real estate franchising than anyone we know, and we love the way you work with agents. So there we go. Now, why is this true? Well, because in Keller Williams, the money goes to all the right people. Let me show you this. This is last year's numbers, right? 2020, and it was the same, almost the same, but a little better on the agent behalf in 2020 than it was in 2019. In Keller Williams, the agents keep 87.5% of all the commissions. Of all the commissions that come in, 87, almost 88% of all of that stays with the agent. There is no other national real estate company for whom that's true, where the agents keep that much of the money. I'm telling you, most of them aren't even keeping track of it, but I know it's not true. And here's the thing, Keller, the most powerful real estate company in the world, runs itself on only 2.2% of the commissions. I mean, Coldwell Banker and Century 21 and Berkshire Hathaway, all of these companies run on 8, 10%. This is at the national level, not just the local level. They run on that. In EXP, they keep it all. So they run on virtually 90% of the amount of money that is come in, because it gets paid straight to them. So here's the thing that is important to understand in Keller Williams, that this whole company is so efficient, it runs on just a little over 2% of the commissions to run all of its regions and all of its international operations. Now, our market centers, where you are, they run on what's called a company dollar of about a little over 10%. Now, most other companies, that's up at 25, 30, 35% of the money comes in and stays with the local office. And yet our market centers hold their expenses to under 7% of the company dollar, or of the GCI, which means that our market centers still earn a profit of 3.4%. And by the way, consistently over 95, 98% of Keller Williams offices are profitable every year, even in tough market conditions, which is amazing. It's amazing. There's no other national company, franchise or otherwise, where their offices are as solidly and consistently profitable as Keller Williams. So I want you to know the business and money intelligence that lies behind Keller Williams. Now, of that profit, we share 45% of it is shared back with the agents through profit share. And in last year, that was $168 million of profit share. There's probably no other company of any kind that has that level of profit share to its employees, to its people, right? And from the start, and I know this is true, Keller Williams has profit shared over $1.5 billion in profit share. There is no other company, not in real estate for sure, maybe in any other business, that has shared $1.5 billion of its profits with its people, the people who are working and earning the money. Astounding. Now, We know how Keller Williams profit share works. I just want to remind us, remember, our market centers recruit great agents, producing agents like you. And those agents they give good service and they generate commissions. And the market center earns a company dollar, the 10%. Then the expenses are paid from that. And then the profit is the amount that's left. And the profit share, 45% of that profit is paid into the pool, and it is distributed directly to the agents every month on the 21st of the month. There's no holding that money. There's no trying to use and gain some sort of revenue on that money. It's paid out immediately, directly to the people who've earned it. Now, why is it that Keller Williams model is so intelligent? Let me just be clear. It's because agents get to keep most of the money. They do the work, they have the relationships, they have the reputation, they get to keep the money. And yet the market centers are large enough, because Keller Williams is very disciplined as to where we place market centers and who gets to own them, so that we have the resources to provide all of the services, marketing, technology, training, what we're doing here today to our agents. And yet the market centers are still so well run, they generate a profit, and that profit's large enough to share 45%. And that passive income goes on for life. For life. This doesn't happen in other companies. Other companies that do either profit sharing or revenue sharing, when you drop out of real estate, it disappears. It disappears. And if you were to die, it's gone completely. Now, that's not true in Keller Williams. Let me give you an example. You know, the Dave Jenks profit share company, right? I have an LLC. It's called the Dave Jenks Legacy LLC. And in it, I'm a partner, and my wife and my son and one of my brothers is a partner. We're partners in that LLC. And every month, Keller Williams sends my profit share to that LLC account, and it gets distributed. Right now, most of it comes to me, but I have it written in the company agreement of the LLC that when I pass away, all of the other, my wife, my son, my brother, all of their percentages go up so that money is shared to them. And then when one of them passes away, it switches to another. My point is, that is an asset that will go on to my estate and the people I choose and to theirs. It'll go beyond. It will last forever. It goes on for life. This is not true of any other any other real estate company's revenue sharing or profit sharing program. Keller Williams is committed to building passive income for life for its people. It's really important to understand this because it's the mindset of Keller Williams. Now, I taught franchise systems orientation for 12 years. Every new owner, OP, team leader, and MCA would come to that training in Austin. And I would guide them on the seven models of Keller Williams power. What makes us such a unique and powerful company? Now, I'm not going to take the time to teach you that now. That's not what this is about. But I want you to understand that this is the power that's behind Keller Williams. It's not an accident that Keller Williams is the #1 real estate company in the world and still growing incredibly fast, spreading internationally. And it's because we're built on very intelligent models and systems, right? We said systems are the way that you make good things happen. So #1 is, we just covered it. We have an economic profit sharing model. The way our money works, the agents keep most of the money. Market centers are big enough to give all the services and yet make a profit, and that profit is shared. #2 is we understand the real estate sales business game. We wrote the books, MREA, MREI, Shift. We wrote the best-selling books in the history of real estate, and our training programs all focus on helping agents. We are a real estate sales company. I mean, we're not some corporate stockholder company. We care about our agents, and we know about selling real estate. #3 is we understand leadership. We have great leaders. We have people like Eric as OPs. We have team leaders that are wonderful MCAs. We get the structure of how you build leadership into the company and how you grow leaders. And we go to our agents through our agent leadership councils to get guidance to how the company grows. So it's important. We are masters of leadership. And then our growth model, and every company needs to grow. And what we understand is we don't grow because of our marketing. We grow because of relationships. We grow because one agent goes to another and says, you really need to come to Keller Williams. Keller Williams is an amazing company. The services here are outstanding. The leaders here are wonderful. The teachers here know the business. You will get everything you need right here at Keller Williams to build your career. And therefore, people join and name them as the sponsor. That's why we call it a synergistic recruiting growth model. We are not recruiting from a corporate point of view. We are recruiting from an organic, through our agents and relationships point of view. And then number 5 is we're the best educational system in real estate. Keller Williams applied to be part of the Training Magazine's 125 best companies at training. And the first year we applied, we were 43rd, and then we moved up into the top 10. And then for 3 years in a row, we were number 1. This, by the way, this is an evaluation by Training Magazine of training in all companies, not just real estate, all companies of all, industries and all activities. And we were number 1, the number 1 training company in the world. Then the next year, number 2, and then the next year, number 3. And that 3-year stint put us in the Training Magazine Hall of Fame for the best training in the whole world. So we clearly are a learning-based educational model. We're committed to that. Now, the other secret we have is that we know how, in an independent contractor business, to have people be productive. And we know how that because we know how to coach, and we know how to hold people accountable, and we have productivity coaches and agent services people, and we have MAPS coaching for the high level. We have masterminds. We know how, and we have, the 135 and the 411. We covered that last time in Getting What You Want. We have the tools and systems for high level productivity. And we know that game better than anybody else. And then the big one that a lot of people talk about is this wonderful cultural model we have. Being in Keller Williams is a wonderful place personally to be. We have what we call a values-based, achievement-focused cultural model. That means on the one hand, we have values we stand up to, the Y4C2Ts, how we treat each other, and KW cares. We take care of our own, we give other, we have Red Day where we give back to our communities. And then on the other side of this, we have an achievement focused. We make things happen. It's not just a feel good, huggy kissy kind of culture. It's a get things done. And that's the 6 personal perspectives that we built 25 years ago. And the company has this double-sided coin of culture, values-based, a great place to work, wonderful relationships, and achievement-focused, a place to get things done, serve others, and get paid for it. So wonderful culture, powerful. And then we've added in now, we've always been a technology company, but now we've added in the best database ever built with marketing tools and social media tools and lead capture tools associated with it, command. Nobody has a level of technology that good. And then finally, we are bringing in all the ancillary services that can come to the real estate transaction, but we're making sure that it serves the agent and the transaction, not some corporate goal, but that all of our ancillary services, our support services, really help transactions happen. So there we are, the models of Keller Williams, what gives us power. I wanted to cover this with you because I don't want to just say, oh, Keller Williams is a great company. No, it's a great company because of exactly these 9 models that it follows. All right, it's important. Okay, now let's go back to your pathway, your personal pathway, just as we did before, right? And so the thing we say is use MREA and Shift to guide your career. That's the dashboard of your business. They should sit on your desk, coil bound. We covered this in Magic Comes in Threes. Those 2 books should be coil bound, sitting on your desk, because they are the dashboard of your business. One is the business tactical one, that's MREA. The business strategic one. The other one is the productivity tactical one, Shift. And they should Guide Your Business, right there, those two books. Then MREI sits off, and it is your guide to wealth building. And I want to take just a minute to share this with you, and to show you, and also offer this to you. So MREI is a powerful book. It's a very powerful book. And what I want to kind of make clear to you is what the content is in it, right? Because it's one of those things that it's so good to read. We wrote these books for fast moving entrepreneurs like you. We want them to be scannable. You can pick up things easy. There's lots of headlines and open space and graphs and charts and inserted quotes and cartoons and all of these things in the book to make it readable and fun to read. So the first thing is the table of contents. It's 4 pages long. The whole book is laid right out on those 4 pages. You can look through that and you can see the entire content of the book in those 4 pages. It's magical. And that makes it absorb into your awareness. Then we focus on the 3 areas. You remember in MREA, it's leads, listings, and leverage. Well, in real estate investing, it's criteria, terms, and network. Criteria is what you want to invest in. Terms is the way in which you want to invest it. And networking is those who will help you in making that investment, right? Like property managers and commercial loan officers and handymen and all of the things that you need that network around you, because no one succeeds alone. So that's it. And then we talk about the 4 stages of growth. That first you think it, and that's why you read the book, just to get your mindset right. You can't jump into doing it. It's not meant to be jumped into doing it. Remember, all the things that matter in life take a long time to do. So don't jump into it. Just first get clear about it. Read the book. Think first, you think $1 million, then you buy $1 million. That is, you start to acquire properties in different ways. Maybe you buy one and live in it. And then when you move to the next one, you don't sell that one. You keep it as an investment property and you keep doing that. And then ultimately you get to the point where you own $1 million of net worth, right? And then you get to the point where you receive $1 million or whatever number every year in cash flow and increase in net worth. So it's think, buy, own, receive. And then we got to get over the myth understanding. So there's 3 personal and 5 about investing. And then the 2 goals you're going after are net worth and cash flow. You're trying to build the net worth of the asset you have, your equity build up. And then at the same time, you're wanting to generate cash flow from those properties that will either pay for themselves, help you invest more, or will actually bring cash flow to you. And that your investment potential will be a combination, we call it your ATM, of your ability, your time, and your money. Your ability is what you know and what you can do. Your time is the time you devote to it, and money is how you make the money work for you. And then you understand the laws of compounding, right? That if you doubled a penny, if somebody, they love to tell the story of the little boy who said to the farmer said, "How much you want to be paid?" He said, "Well, just pay me a penny the first day, and then pay me double that the next day, 2 pennies, and then the next day 4, and then the next day 8, and just every day, just double it." And the farmer thought, "What a deal this is, right? He's working for pennies." Well, here's the thing. On day 30, he made 5.3 million. I mean, obviously this didn't happen, but he would have made $5.3 million on the 30th day of the month. And for the whole month, he would have made over $10 million by just doubling a penny every day for 30 days. Isn't that amazing? Well, it's an exaggerated view of how compounding works. When you have a 10%, and what we say in real estate, and here's an important thing to understand, we're not looking at big money returns. I mean, not in the sense of compounding. If you invest in a property and put 20% down and put it on a 15-year note, get this clearly, whatever size property, if you buy it with 20% down and then you rent it for 15 years, and if it never increases a penny in value, in other words, there's no appreciation, and if your cash flow is breaks even, in other words, you get just enough cash to carry your costs, at the end of 15 years, you will have earned 11% a year on your money. The money you invested in that will have returned to you 11% a year at the end of 15 years with no appreciation and no increase, no positive cash flow. Isn't that astounding? That's what makes real estate so great. Now, if you get appreciation and you get cash flow, now you can take that return on investment up to 15, 18, 20% or more return on your money every year. And remember, you just can't get that anywhere else. And it's one of the reasons you might want to become not only an investor, but you might want to help others invest, to go to your client base and to be set up an LLC where people can invest with you. You're the manager in real estate, and they just put in their money, because if they can get 10, 12, 15, 18, 20% interest on their money, that's an amazing investment. They can't get it anywhere else. So anyway, we go down through there, and then we say, by the way, we believe that wealth building is a spiritual journey, that money is good for the good it can do. And what you learn as an investor about how to work your life is also a spiritual journey, the personal improvement. And then we talk about the big goals and big habits and the money matrix, how to have money work for you. And then we talk about real estate as the most able investment. We say there's 8 ways it's the most able. Let me read them to you. It says it's accessible, anyone can buy it. It's appreciable, it increases in value. It's leverageable, you can buy on a margin. It's rentable, it generates cash flow. It's improvable, you can give it sweat equity. It's deductible, depreciable, and deferrable. You get lots of tax advantages. It's stable, in other words, values go up and may go down, but typically not dramatically. Maybe one time in history in 2007, 8, 9, that was only one time in history. And now we're back up to that 4% a year curve since World War II in terms of value. So it's stable. And then number 8, it's livable. You can live in it. You can live in it and then move to another one and rent that one and keep on doing that. A lot of people in the military have done that. So it's able. And then there's the whole game of the path of money, understanding cash flow, how to be an active investor. And then there's the creating and tracking your net worth. And then there's the 20-year path to a millionaire investor. And it's a wonderful description that we show that if you invested 20% down on properties, and we show what would have happened over the last 20 years, if you bought it, you bought one every 2 years for 10 years, that's 5 properties, and then one a year for the next 10 years. So that would be 10 more properties. So in 20 years, you'd have 15 properties. And by the time you got to your 6th property, your cash flow would pay for the next investment. You wouldn't need to put any money down. You could use your cash flow to make your down payment. So you really only are coming up with your own personal money for the first 10 years, first 5 properties. And then it goes, and by the end of 20 years, you're over $1 million in equity. And by the end of 25 years, you're almost over $2 million in equity, just by making those simple investments. Anyway, we show that model, and it's a great one. And we say, here's the motto that you're doing on. Buy it right. And we talk about how to do that. You make your money going in, buy it right, pay it down, pay it off. And that's how you build your wealth. And then the other thing, just have a few more rules about rules for investor lead generation and your criteria worksheets and the choices you have between buy and live, buy and sell, and buy and hold. That's all laid out to you in the 5 laws of investment lead generation, which is you always stick to your criteria. You are a shopper, not a buyer. You want to be the first or last ones to offer, and you keep your money in the investment, and you let it grow. right? And then we talk about the whole combination, the difference between buy and sell and buy and hold. So powerful. Here's what, for those of you who want, I will send you this key pages of MREI, the highlighted magical pages of MREI, and all these slides in this presentation. All you have to do is write me, dave@kw.com, dave@kw.com, and give me 3 insights you got from this presentation. Just 3, we call them ahas. 3 ahas that stood out for you. Send those to me, dave@kw.com, and I will send you all these slides plus this outline of MREI. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. All right, so really let that book be your guide. Then again, like we said, track your net worth. What you track improves. Have a budget and a plan, live on 70%, invest 30, and then your passive income will exceed your earned income. Understand active versus passive and let the money work for you. And now there's one final thing that I really want to take a look at for you. And that is all of the choices you have for generating passive income and wealth in your life. Number 1 is have a great real estate career. Just sell a lot of real estate. Just like we talked about in MREA, the overlooked secrets of MREA. Build a great career and invest 30% of that money anywhere, but in real estate would be a good place. Build a 7th level MREA business where you're an owner of a business being done under your name, what we call 7th level, right? I mean, Linda McKissick's a great example because she went from failing out of real estate and 8 years later, here's what the Linda McKissick, the McKissick Group, our systems are your solution, that was her motto, closed 350 sales. She had 4 admins, 5 buyer specialists, 2 listing specialists, and a manager. She wasn't even managing it. She was its owner. And for spending 5 hours a week overseeing that business, she was making $400,000 a year in profit income. See, that's the promise of the 7th level. That's the possibility. We talked about that in the session we did. So if you want to go back and watch that recording on the overlooked secrets of MREA, I really encourage you to do that. Then you can become an MREI investor personally. Just invest personally. Follow all the path that we talk about in MREI. Or you can combine MREI in your life and work with investors. There's a wonderful gentleman in Ontario, Canada, Jim Reitzel, and he said, Dave, that book has changed my life and my family's life. My son and I, since that book came out, and we use your models because they're downloadable free from Keller Inc. We use your models for the PowerPoint we present, for the handouts we give, and we run a monthly investor night in our market. A monthly investor seminar, an hour and a half. And he said, we've had wonderful turnouts. And here's what it's done. This is important. He said, not only has it brought us the opportunity to work with investors, but it's also increased the average sale price of our residential business. Why? Because we're now working with higher income people who want to invest and are interested in investing are higher income people. So even in selling and buying their own residences, he said, we've increased our average sale price significantly. So we work with investors, we work with them on their own residential purchases. He said, it's changed our business. And simply from running a 1 night a month investor seminar, and he said, you guys have created all the things I need to do that. The PowerPoint, the handouts, the presentation, the marketing materials, it's all in Keller Inc. So I want to say that to you. You can start working as investor's realtor. And then, of course, achieve ownership in a Keller Williams Market Center. I am telling you, those opportunities are still there. We have people who are becoming OPs, who are getting ownership. And I will just tell you personally, I had an agent, her name was Debbie Zoyce, come to me in 2005 and said, Dave, I want to open a Keller Williams office. And would you be my partner? And I went, well, okay. So I was a minor partner, 27% owner. Cost me a little shy of $50,000 to put in to that business. And for the next, let's see, I'm just thinking, for the next 12 years, that money earned on average over 75% a year. In other words, that investment, I was getting a 75% return every year on it as an investor. And then she wanted to buy me out, so she did. And so I got all that money plus back by the buyout, and still kept a 5% interest, and that is continuing to return. So my point is that ownership of a Keller Williams Market Center is a wonderful opportunity. Ben Kinney, the #1 producing agent in all of Keller Williams, when he got started, looked around and saw that the offices in northern Washington State, over on the Pacific coast, were struggling. And so he started to systematically buy them. And now he has 6 market centers, plus he has a mega team and an expansion team. And so as an agent, he took over ownership of Keller Williams offices. Those opportunities are always there. Keep your eye open for it. And then the final thing is grow your Keller Williams profit share business. And that was one of the things that Gary Keller and I really talked about. We got Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Cashflow Quadrant, to let us use his chart. And in it, he says you can get income in your life from 4 directions. You can be employed and someone pays you a salary. That's 90% of people. Or you can be self-employed like we are in real estate. But he said, the thing is, you have to show up to work to earn the money here. He said, wealth building is on the other side of the quadrants. One is it's owning a business. If you own a business, and he said, it's, you own it when you can leave it, and 6 months later you come back and it's doing as well or better than when you left. So it really is that 7th level of ownership. Or you make investments. And he believes deeply in investing in real estate, but you can invest in things. Now, what we in Keller Williams, the reason Keller Williams has a wealth building mindset is because we have written the book on how to turn your self-employed job in real estate into a business. So study that and do it. Number 2 is we've showed how you can become a millionaire real estate investor, or as we said earlier, you can combine it. Be a millionaire real estate agent and have an investor division in your business for yourself and for others. And then Gary Keller and I said, this is the important part of this discussion. Where does Keller Williams profit share fit? Well, it's clearly on the passive income side. It's on the B&I side, but is it a business or an investment? But what we believe is it's the purest form of passive income that we know of, ever invented, anywhere. And let me show you why. See, I consider it to be a business. So here's the Dave Jenks Profit Share Company. I have sponsored 6 people, that's all. Over 25 years, I've only sponsored 6 people into Keller Williams. And yet in my 7 levels I get paid on, there are 1,176 associates. And I've been paid over 1.6, now over 1.8 actually, $1 million of pure passive income. And here's what it looks like. See, it grew slowly, made it up to $66,000. Then the market collapsed. It went down into the 30s, 39. Then it worked its way back up. And you can see for the last 5 years, it's averaged over $175,000 of pure passive income. I mean, that's paid for my retirement and my travels around the country. What an incredibly wonderful source of income that is for me. And that's all from only sponsoring 6 people. Amazing. Now, other people have taken it more seriously. So Linda McKissick came to me in 1999 and said, Gary Keller wants us to pro forma some other form of business other than listing and selling real estate. What would you recommend? And I went, why don't you try profit share? And she said, well, what do you mean? And I described to her how it worked and gave her all the numbers. And she came back to me and went, oh, wow, this could be the biggest source of income in my life. So let me tell you what she did. She and Jimmy, and by the way, in Keller Williams, if you're a husband and wife team, you get paid on 2 levels. You get paid on the one agent, and then you get paid on the spouse's level in the Keller Williams profit share tree. So they have sponsored 32 people. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, in 25 years, but they have 32 in their first level of their tree, of their profit share tree. It's like a tree. And under them, they have 9,340 agents in their 7 levels, because in Keller Williams, we only pay on the 7th level, 7 levels, so that the opportunity never goes away. Whenever you join, you can still build a 7-level tree. But they have earned over 12, now over $13 million, $13 million in pure passive income. And this is what it looked like for them. It ramped up. It went up to 470,000. Then the market crashed, right? The real estate market, and it went down to 244,000. Well, it's still not bad, is it? 244,000 of pure passive income. No. By the way, here's the thing to remember about a Keller Williams profit share company, like I'm describing it. It never goes to zero, and it certainly doesn't go negative. There's no way it goes negative. So you're not going to declare bankruptcy. There's no risk. It might go lower, but it doesn't go to zero, and it doesn't go negative. So that's important to understand why this, as a business, is an amazing opportunity. And you can see for them how it's grown. And now in the last 4 years, they've averaged over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million in pure passive income that comes to your mailbox the 21st of every month. And I said, like for me, it goes to my LLC. So even after I pass away, it's going to go on to my wife and my son and my brother that are in that LLC. So this is a wonderful opportunity. In Keller Williams, for you to earn passive income with no financial investment, no risk, no liability, and no management responsibility. None of those things, right? So that really is a business worth owning. And here in a short form is what I've learned from those people who have really built their Keller Williams profit share tree, like Linda and Althea Osborne and Mike Brody and bunches of agents. And it doesn't matter when you joined the company, because you're only going to get paid on 7 levels. So we have agents that joined us in the last 6, 8, 10 years that are making as much money as people who joined us 20 years ago or 25. So the opportunity never goes away. But here's how it works. First, build great relationships with other agents. When you're co-broke with people, be dependable, get the job done, be positive, go to MLS meetings, go to training programs, get curious about their business, ask them about how they're doing and what challenges they're dealing with. Share your own career path, tell them what you've been dealing with, and be enthusiastic about what you've gained from Keller Williams training, support, and your staff and the environment that you work in, the culture. And then offer to introduce them to a Keller Williams team leader or OP to talk to them about the opportunity of bringing their career to Keller Williams. This is how it always happens, by the way. This is how everyone who's joined us, this is how it happened. Either they were coming into real estate and we're given a chance to do that, or they were brought over by another Keller Williams agent. Follow up, get them answers that they need. You do not have to be a recruiter. Keller Williams has trained recruiters. You do not have to be one. Get them the answers they need. Congratulate them on joining the family, and then just track the growth. Because remember, what you track improves. Track the growth, and you get a monthly report from Keller Williams on who's in your tree, how many people are in your tree, how much money you've been paid, and you can track it over time. Keller Williams just gives you all of that. So in summary, what I want to say is that you really have this amazing opportunity in Keller Williams to build your own passive income and financial independence, whether you do it in your own personal business, or you do it in your own real estate investing, or you do it as part of Keller Williams, the company. But the thing to remember is it's what you do now when you don't have to that will determine what you become when you can no longer help it. And I would say, and thank you for being here with me right now and being with all of the training sessions that we've been doing for you. Thank you for that, because that is, that's the key. That's the key. Getting your mindset right is the key for you building financial independence in your life. So, by the way, remember, I just want to, as a reminder, say that. So write me, dave@kw.com. Give me 3 ahas that you got from this time together, and I will send you all these slides. Plus, I will send you that detailed outline of the magical pages of MREI. Okay, and if anyone has a question that they'd like to ask me, this would be a great time to do it. By the way, one of the things to think about geographically too, I had an agent, I was doing this seminar for a group of agents in the Hudson Valley of New York. And this one agent came on and said, oh my God, Dave, in this COVID time, this has been terrible because the tenant my husband and I had in our property, just the minute the government said they wouldn't support evictions, she stopped. She said she could have afforded it, but she just stopped paying her rent. And so we've had no rent income for a year. And we talked about, what do you do about that? Now they can, and now actually the person's left and she's looking. But one of the conclusions was, well, you don't have to rent locally. You can invest in property elsewhere in states where there wouldn't be that kind of restriction against landlords. So the thing to remember, 2 things is, you're not geographically locked in wealth building. You can invest in properties elsewhere, and you may have a familiarity with those, and there may be better opportunities there, even though in the book we say there's always opportunities everywhere. And the other is, the same thing is true about recruiting Keller Williams or people to Keller Williams. It just doesn't happen to be in your own local area. You can do that, but it can be anywhere in the country. I can tell you that my 7 levels are spread out from coast to coast, up to Canada, and virtually every state in the union. Over time, it has really spread that far. So you can recruit anywhere. Just want to make that clear. So again, anyone who wants to either, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to make a comment or ask a question. This is a time to do that. Has this been helpful? Give me a thumbs up if it has. Thumbs up? Helpful? Okay, good. No, good. I mean, that's important. No, thank you for being here. Amy says she has to run. I understand that. We got things that we're doing. I get that. If there's a question that you have, though, that you want to ask me, feel free to send it in your message to me, dave@kw.com. I'd be happy to respond. And I would just say, I want to again thank Lauren for putting this together. And I want to remind you all that the Zoominar I did, Why List With Me, which is incredibly powerful about building a world-class listing presentation and getting down to the emotional simplicity of why people list with you. It's not a technical thing. It's not complicated. A listing presentation should take no more than about 20 minutes, right? There's the pre-presentation where you're building rapport and looking at the home and getting to know them. And then there's the point after they've agreed to list with you where you're going to start working with them and work on the pricing and work on the staging and the timing and the marketing and all of that, right? But the heart of a listing presentation is about 20 minutes. And what I am going to show you is what to do to get ready for that 20 minutes and then to deliver that 20 minutes in a way that gets you the listing, because it's an emotional decision by them, not an analytic decision. And I'm going to tell you how you really build that trust in you and that willingness and desire for them to want to work with you. So I just want to say that's next. It's on the 15th and probably at the same time. I don't have it right in front of me. I think it is. Let me just see if I think it is. Let me just check it real quick on my calendar. Yes, it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Tuesday the 15th. Why List With Me? So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I want to, again, thank Eric and Lauren for helping this happen. And Best of luck to all of you. Is somebody asking a question, but maybe you're muted? Susan, are you asking a question? No? Okay. You're just talking to somebody else. Okay. I got you. All right, everybody. Take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
You bet, Susan. Thank you.
It's been wonderful. When are you coming to the Boston area?
Oh, that's right. We got to get up there in person. I know that my wife and I both want to get to New England, right? We just want to get up into that part of the world. So probably as things are starting to clear, are you guys is the lockdown stopping? Are we not as restrictive as we used to be?
No masks. It's changing. We've had a lot of people get vaccinated. It's a very good state to come and visit.
Okay, good. Well, it's a great state anyway, because I love New England anyway.
Yeah.
So Susan,
you've been wonderful, Dave. I can't thank you enough. This has been great, and it's very You're a very wonderful motivator.
Thank you. Well, what's interesting is I'm a teacher, and therefore what I convey to people possibilities. And so it's motivational in the sense that you see maybe possibilities that you didn't see before, but also what you see is the way to get there, right? So another thing that makes it motivation is not rah-rah motivation. It's sort of like, oh, okay, I can do that. I can make that happen. And then to realize the game isn't an overnight game. We're not looking for quick fixes, right?
Right.
We're looking for long-term strategies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I'll never forget when I first came to KW, and I was working with Eric on on plans and things like that, and Eric said to me, "So tell me, what is your budget? What do you spend?" And I just said, "Oh, I just spend whatever I need." And he was like, "So you have to have a budget?" And I'm like,
well, I think, and the hard thing is, it's interesting because, and I was one of these people. I would say I have not managed my money well. I'm not a role model. I'm a student of the game, not a role model. I'm doing fine financially, but I really could have done a lot better. And the reason is because I had this great confidence in my ability to earn money. So I wasn't as careful about spending or investing my money because I had this confidence that I could just earn money, right? And I think a lot of top agents just think that I can always earn what I need. I can always earn,
right.
more. And of course, because we're in real estate and no one's telling us we have to retire at a certain time, we say, well, I just can keep selling real estate. But the thing is, you sort of reach a point where you want the freedom to do other things. And that's why managing.
Right. And I think that I've been in real estate for a number of years. And if I had one wish in my career, it's that I had started at KW, probably 20 years ago, because, I'm not the 20, 30-year-olds that have just joined, and they have a phenomenal career ahead of them if they stick with KW and do what they need to do, because the sky's the limit. And you all give out such fantastic information that it's a shame if people don't take advantage of it.
Well,
but
it's their decision. What we do is we make it available,
right,
and then they can or not do it. And what you want people to do, and I do too, is really pay attention to what's there, and then take advantage of it, and understand that Keller Williams is a very agent-focused company. We believe in selling real estate, and we believe in our agents, and we know how to manage businesses, and we bring in people like Eric who are great business owners, right?
Fabulous.
So they run a great office that provides all that service environment that that an agent needs to be successful.
This office is an amazing office. The people, Lauren and Jen and Tom and Eric, it's fabulous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
thank you so much. See you next week, I think it is.
Yeah, the 15th. All right.
Bye now.
You take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Well, I figured there's now 4 people that are listening to this. This is very bad.
Where's Eric?
Oh, I don't know.